Today we'll be doing 2-2 part 2.
This rectangle model the expression 3 times 4. Three times 4 is 12 squares. To find an equivalent expression for 3 times 4, change the order of the factors. Four times 3 is 12 squares. The rectangles have the same number of squares. 3 times 4 and 4 times 3 are equivalent expressions.
So I talked earlier about how commutative reminds me of the word commute, right? My dad would commute to Chicago every day for work. He would drive or he would take the train. So all you're doing is flipping the numbers. You're moving them. So when I think of the word commute, I think of the word move. It says, each archaeologist, A, of the evacuation team is responsible for 4 sections of the dig site. Write 2 equivalent expressions that show the total number of sections. So I know that I have each person, or each archaeologist, is responsible for 4. So that can be represented as A times 4. Well, by using the commutative property, I can flip these around, and it can now become 4 times A. So A times 4 and 4 times A will both give me my answer. Again, same thing here. Because of the commutative property, 4A and A times 4 are equivalent.
This chart is similar to the rectangular grid in the intro. You can use it to think about the commutative property of multiplication. What would the chart look like if the days of the week were written across the top instead of down the side? Would the number of meals per week change?
While on a dig, the archaeologists write their initial beneath the meals they will prepare for the team. Use the commutative property of multiplication to write 2 equivalent expressions that show the total number of meals prepared each week.
Okay, so go ahead and try this one on your own. Here are some answer choices. Freeze your screen, talk to your pad or the people around you. What do you think the answer should be for this one? The correct answer should be 3 times 7 or 7 times 3 because they're equivalent expressions and they both show total meals prepared were 21. Go ahead and try this one.
Does the statement 3 times 8 equals 4 times 6 illustrate the commutative property of multiplication?
Do these illustrate the same thing? So 3 times 8 is 24 and 4 times 6 is also 24. Do they illustrate the same thing though? The answer should be 3 times 8 and 6 times 4 are equivalent because they both have a value of 24, but they show different factors. So no, they do not have the commutative property. They have to be the same numbers. Okay, let's go on to part 3. All right.
You know, There's a reason you might want to rewrite some of these expressions. Think about 4 times 3 times 25. It's a lot easier to multiply 4 times 25 and get 100 and then multiply that by 3 instead of trying to multiply 12 times 25 in your head. Yikes.
Okay, let's fill these out. So 1b minus 1a can be simplified as b minus a. B plus a, well, I know that that is not up here, so that's a recycler. Okay, a minus b is also not up here. Okay, x plus 14 plus x, well, I can write that as x plus 14. 4 times s times 25, is that anywhere up here? Well, yep, right here. 4 times 3 times 25, yep, right here. 75 plus s, recycler. 14 times x, recycler. Okay, 14 plus 15 plus 6, well, right over here. And then a times b is the same as b times a. Well, Miss Huss, why did they want me to redo all these? If you look at these numbers that we switched around, guys, chances are it's because if you multiply from left to right or add from left to right, it gives us an easier number. So if you think about 25 and 4, 25 times 4 makes 100, right? If you have 4 quarters, that's 100, or a dollar. Another one up here I see is 14 plus 6. Well, 14 plus 6 is a lot easier to do than 14 plus 15. 14 plus 6 is 20, and then you know 20 plus 15 is 35. Go ahead and try this one on your own. It's the last problem.
Which statements are true about algebraic expressions that are equivalent because of the commutative properties? The expressions have the same numbers and variables. The expressions involve addition or multiplication. The expressions involve subtraction or division.
Okay, go and circle which ones you think are correct. And when you're done, go ahead and move on to whatever is next.